whole time I was jigging, trying to get a Cartier. I'm a New Year's baby, so every year it's Cartier.
Yo, what it do, everybody? MarlinBeats here. Hope everyone's doing well. This is gonna be the first of many videos going over how we made the beat for some of the songs that we've produced over the years for, you know, many different artists and stuff like that. We're probably gonna be doing, you know, tutorials, beat tutorials on FL Studio. We may do some like vlogs on what we do day to day. If you like this content, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, throw down a comment on what you want to see next. And so the first one we're going to be going over is how we made the beat for No Regards by Safa Gaw. Came out about a year ago. The song is awesome. Did a music video to it as well. And for the artist Safa, you know, he does a lot of different music. He does like R&B, hip-hop, trap, dancehall, island music, all that type of stuff. This one specifically, we knew we wanted, you know, something upbeat, something pretty hard for him to just be able to rap on, and, you know, something that's exciting, you know, upbeat, fast. So we could dive right in, and this is how we started. All right, so first off, as you can see, the tempo here is 169. You know, like I said, Safa does a lot of different music, a lot of different tempos. You could do 90 BPM, you can go 140, 150, 60. But for this one, we wanted something fast, something upbeat. You know, we went a little faster at 169 BPM. And then I started here. Oh, this melody, I'm going to play it first so you guys could hear it. As you can see, it's kind of, you know, it's pretty simple, but it's got a very melodic, kind of like a dark feel to it. This sample, I'm not exactly sure where it came from, like Splice or one of those websites, but I just have like a full folder of just samples and, you know, loops and stuff that I just have been collecting. As I was going through, it just stood out to me, and I was like, this kind of sounds good. It was at, I believe 145, so I sped it up to keep the tempo kind of fast, exciting. Also, just wanted to mention that this beat originally was made on Logic Pro X. What actually happened is I switched over to FL Studio. The Logic sessions got messed up because of how I was saving stuff on the hard drive. So I kind of had to remake this entire beat. So the melody was bounced from the Logic session. So there were some effects on it, and I'll show you right now. I don't have any effects on it, but there was, I think, a little bit of reverb. Good. And I think it was something small. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't this exact reverb because I was on Logic, but it was something, you know, something like this, and it was just something light just to give it more ambience a little bit. I pitched it up like 1 or 2, but again, other than that, just kind of sped it up, pitched it up, and put like very small effects on it. Another thing I think I did is took out some low end on the melody. Yeah, because you could see there's not much, but if you did, you know, if there was, I would just pull up an EQ. Fab Filter Q3 is a good one. Parametric EQ2 is good as well. And then I just kind of pulled this low end bar to cut out the low end. And you could hear it if I did it more. You could hear how it continues to cut out more of the low end. So originally it was probably something. Yeah, so that's the main melody, and then somewhere in the beat I wanted to, you know, add something. I could have went with really any instrument, a guitar, piano, even bells, some synths, but I went with the flute. This one comes from Electra, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, Electra X semi-real bank. I'm not sure where I got it. I think I got it from Reddit, but I have like a bunch of banks from here. And this is a good one, semi-real. So, and then it goes to fractal flute, so it sounds like this. I just played in what I heard, and the main melody kind of had like already harmonies in it, so I kind of like heard a melody in it while I was, you know, listening to it. So this is kind of what I have right now. This is what I put in for the counter melody. something simple, repetitive, kind of just fit perfectly because the melody, the main melody, is pretty full. And then right now I don't have any effects on it, but again, I believe I probably put some reverb. It just gives it more of like a, sorry about that, gives it more of like an ambient sound. Kind of blends it into the background a little bit. You hear the difference, off and then on. And I probably could take some of the high end out too, like that. And then yeah, so that was the counter melody. And I brought that in a couple times. Over to the hi-hats. And for the hi-hats, again, I wanted something pretty simple, but with a little bit of rolls and just something to catch the ear. So I'll play it with the melody here. And I usually start off with just a hi-hat going on every single one, dun, 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 and then I'll fill in where I think rolls should be. Hi-hat. And as I was going, like, you just kind of hearing where I thought these little like rolls could go to add bounce for the artist, for Safa to really bounce on it. I also added, I think I added hi-hat here. I added some reverb as well, just a little bit, because it kind of, you'll hear the hi-hats by itself without the reverb. And then with the reverb. And that's a lot. Honestly, I would usually turn it down more, but just again with this beat, it fit. So that's what I went with. Also, in here, I turned out the out knob a little bit to make it a little bit shorter, because originally it was like this. So I just turned it out, made it a little bit tighter. And this in knob as well kind of made the beginning of it, as you can see, like in the beginning here, it's hitting like that, and then you can see how it kind of makes it skinnier, the wave file, and it just is a little bit lighter, a little bit softer. What I did next was the open hats. I did a few, I think I did 2 of them, or maybe 3. Yeah, I did 3, so I'll play just the open hats now. I added those in with right after the hi-hat, because sometimes personally, like, the open hats will complement the hi-hats and kind of like finish out the beat with the rest of the instruments, just knowing where the open hats are hitting. Like, so it just gives it rhythm. It's very simple. It's not on every single one. Open spaces in some of the pockets where I heard, where I thought a groove should be. And then after that, what I usually do is I'll go to either the clap or the snare, whatever's hitting every beat. So like this. I could have went with a clap, basic snare. I just wanted something that was gonna like punch through, because the melody again was pretty full. Like, and this clap I got from, I have hundreds of drum kits, either that I buy from websites or companies or whatever. But almost all drum kits have this sound. It's like a snare and a clap combined, like the 2 most popular ones. So I use that here just so it can punch through. And most beats are gonna have it in these spots, so in between the 1 and 2, the 2 and 3, the 3 and 4, and the 4 and 5, and onward. The reason for this is it just kind of keeps the groove steady, and so the rappers stays on beat. If I was to like move these over, like you gotta have them hit on that spot for most beats, because that's, you know, the hi-hats and the clap or snare keeps the artist on beat, keeps the groove going, just steady going. So that is that's the clap and snare that I picked. I didn't do anything over here. And then next I did these other snares. Actually, I did two different ones. So these are kind of just like, I call them like the rhythm snares or the groove snares that don't hit on every single one. The ones that go like in between, just a cool. I did it in this spot here. And sometimes the trick with these types of things is like how I have two hitting here in the beginning and then just one here. It's just like, it's like ear candy. And you know, in the beginning you hear it like didn't, and it will like pick up the beat, and then later on you don't hear it, so you're not gonna necessarily know. But when it comes back to the beginning, you'll hear it and you'll be like, oh, there's that snare roll again. And then adding on to that, I have this snare. As you can see, it's hitting more often, kind of like, but again, in between like this steady snare, in between that I'm adding these off snares to add groove. And combining it with the other snare that I did, especially in this part here, you can hear how they have different sounds, like the snares are different sounds, so it kind of adds like a variation to it. Like it's just boom boom, adds a different bounce to it. And then I think it's one of the most important sounds in all of beats is the 808. For this one, I picked the Spins 808. I love it. It just sounds so good. It almost fits like any beat. So I picked this Spins. I turned the out knob up again because if I didn't, it's a long 808 and I wanted it shorter. I find also faster BPMs, like how I'm at, you know, basically at 170, the shorter 808 kind of matches better because it's, you know, a little bit more groovy and it's not like super like elongated. A slower BPM, a longer 808 might be cool because it's like, you know, the beat is slower and then the 808 is just hitting and it's just going for a long time. But with these fast beats, sometimes it's cool to have it short and it just kind of gives it more bounce. So I turned this up a little bit. The volume is at 73%, and then I believe, yeah, the 808s here, the velocity is all the way up. So, you know, you want to get the 808s hitting hard. And I'll do some other videos on that, you know, in the future, how to get your 808s to hit harder. There's certain things you could do on the sampler in here, and this, you know, with a couple of these knobs that will get it to hit harder, you know, be louder. So I'll go over some of those things, but here I didn't do any of those. All I did was just bring the velocity up, and then the volume is at 73%. And this specific 808 sample is a pretty loud one. Like it comes loud originally, right out the box basically. I feel like usually, depending on the 808, I do usually turn this knob up as well, which is the same as this one. But this one, again, like I said, the sample is already loud, so I didn't really need to do too much. You can see the notes that I'm hitting, they're in the same key and they're following the bass notes of the melody. And usually when I put in 808s, I'll go higher octave so I can hear the note better. You know, so it's following like the bass notes of the melody, and I'm adding like these light some of these extra notes here to add bounce. Another thing with Safa, beats like this, he likes the 808s hitting and on specific beats, so I knew I wanted to add like a lot of 808. He could be inspired to continue to just rap and just go. And then when I bring it down, this is what it sounds like. And to do these rolls, a paintbrush over here that you can click on FL Studio, and then it's kind of like you can paint out these notes. And then the magnet here will pick the size. So usually I think it's like the 1/3 that's good. I think that's what I used here. And again too, I could have added more 808s. But just at the time, I didn't feel that that was needed. Rolls, you do 1/3 here. As you can see when I laid it down, it's bigger than the actual note. Hit the note, you do shift. I think it's shift D. Yeah, shift D, and then it makes it fit into the grid. You know, but that's what I did over here. And that's how this sounds right now. The best instrument I did was the kick. I kept it simple to emphasize when the 808s are hitting, not on every one, but on like the more important ones that I felt used was the rack kick. I always use a rack kick, depending on what kit. Again, like I said, like there's hundreds and hundreds of kits, and a lot of them have the same sounds in it. You just gotta make sure you're using the ones that are quality, because you'll hear some in some drum kits like the sounds just aren't good. But like when you find like the sound that is hitting well, and you could match it to music that you hear. Hearing a beat that you like and you're going through a drum kit, one of the sounds is like almost exactly like the one that's in the beat that you're listening to, and it's a good sound. It doesn't mean that you can't use, don't experiment, but I'm just saying if you're trying to go for a certain sound, your ears and listen to music that's out or music that you like to help you find your style. This is the rack kick. I didn't do anything. Oh, I boosted it actually a little bit. So this boost knob is kind of like distortion a little bit. I'll show you the difference when it's on and off. That's on, and then so it just gives it more. It makes it louder, and it just punches more. Buzz. Got kind of cool because it was like groovy, so I put like 2 808s hitting right before the kick. The kick hits here, so I put these 2 808s there, and again it just comes from listening and just kind of putting down what you feel should come next. It's good to just go off of your your first instinct when you're making beats, because that's like your most creative thought, you know what I mean? Because your brain is just making it subconsciously. So if that's what you hear that you think is going to sound good, put it in there, and most likely it will sound good. And if it doesn't, then you switch it. But so let me just play all the drums together. And one part also that I did was I did an 808 switch up, just a tiny part. So over here with this little breakdown, right before, this is where the verse started, so right before the beat drops in, again I heard like an 808 roll, but I didn't have that in the original 808 like here. Like if I use this one, so what I did was I hit this little box up here, I clicked that, and I hit make unique. So what that does is one that I clicked to make unique is now different than all the other 808 midis that I have down. I can go into this and change it. I could delete notes. As you see, I deleted the ones in the beginning, and then I added these 3 up here where I heard that I think there should be a roll before the drums drop back in. So I made this unique, so it's different than these other ones. So this is the original 808 that I have going through basically the hook. And these 2 here are the exact same. I made it unique. So I stopped it, and then little things like that you could do throughout the beat to just add switch up. So now that's basically all the sounds. And you know, this section is the hook here. Then we had the verse part, a little bit of like a breakdown, and he may have cut up the beat a little bit as well, maybe made it shorter in certain parts, but this is how the beat was when I sent it to him. So I'll play it, you know, from the beginning, and I'll let you hear. Also, actually, before I do that, I wanted to show you on the master channel. On the master channel, which is basically each individual instrument here is in the mixer, as you see. Sorry, I keep muting myself. But so the melody, you go over here, and this is where you add the effects, the mixer channel. But all of these individual instruments are being routed to the master channel. As you see, my voice talking is going into the master channel. All of these instruments are going into the master channel as well. What I add is a soft clipper. You guys probably heard of that before. On FL Studio, it's called Fruity Soft Clipper. Then there's also this one called the TR5 Classic Clipper. Personally, it's a little bit more clean than the Fruity Soft Clipper. It just, what it does is it basically just makes your instruments not clip over 0. Just makes the instruments punch harder. And I'll show you, this is without the soft clipper. They're going way past 0, and what happens with that is it's kind of hard to explain, but it kind of makes the instrument sound distorted. You know, you won't really be able to fit artists on it. It's a whole nother thing to go into, but you don't on the master channel especially, you really don't want anything going over 0. On the individual tracks, it's different. With the soft clipper, it kind of controls everything. So it's still hitting hard, you know, it's still clipping individually, but on the master, and it just kind of punches through the drums and all that. And then I also added this EQ here, taking out the low end. So the low end here, sometimes it'll mess with, because the kick and the 808 are both the low end, they're hitting together. So sometimes the frequencies clash and it just doesn't sound good. So sometimes I'll put this EQ on. It just cuts the frequencies really low. You can't really hear them. The human ear can't really hear them, but like you can kind of feel it almost. Very subtle difference, but personally, I think in the mix, it kind of just cleans everything up. And that is basically the entire beat. So I'll play that from the beginning here so you guys can hear it. That is how we made No Regards for Safa Gaw, produced by MarlinBeats. That's us. Like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, comment down below if you liked the video, if you didn't like it, what kind of videos we should do next, what do you guys want to know, something that you saw me do and you didn't know how I did it, throw it down in the comments. I'll try and get to all of them and continue this channel. So thank you, appreciate it, and that's it, we're out.
Whole time I was jigging, trying to get a Cartier. I'm a New Year's baby, so every year it's Cartier. I was taught, get it how you live, never live in fear. You ain't even really from the hood, you just living there. Keep a big roll on me, yeah. Got some killers in the trenches still, yeah. And you said you get it poppin', okay, yeah. Gotta keep a side piece, yeah. I just saw the check and now I'm tryna get an Audemars. I just got her naked when it fucking on my off abroad. All my bitches bougie and they petty. Used to want the Cartier, now I want the Patek. Niggas thought I change. I been on the same